Hello and welcome to another episode of Chat G&G. He's Grizz. I'm not Gags, as most of you can tell. Gags is sunning it up on a Mediterranean island just now. I won't tell you which one, just in case you bump into him by mistake. But he'll be whining and dining with his good lady wife somewhere tonight in a nice warm climate. And it's not too bad here in the UK just now. Scotland is still a bit chilly, even though the sun's shining. What's it like down your way in Luton, Grizz?
It's nice. It's been very, very pleasant. First and foremost, welcome everyone. As you can see, he's not Gags. This is Gibbsy. Basically, I was thinking, might give it Gibbsy until the end of the season. With the amount of holidays this man Gags is taking. Well, he claims the first one was a work trip. You give him the benefit of the doubt with the work one, and now, as you said, now he's off in the Mediterranean. While the rest of us are grafting away in the UK. But at least a sunny UK, right? I mean, even Scotland.
Yeah,
I know
it is.
But it's been very, very pleasant down in the
and we're
south.
supposed to be getting a good weekend of weather as well, so that's something to look forward to. It's always nice this time of year.
Absolutely, there you go. Red's coming down to London, which I should be going to as well. West London, not far from me. It bodes well. Everything bodes well. Everything's sunny. Everything's rosy, and Liverpool are on the verge of something amazing, eh?
They are indeed, and we've got an agenda to work through. We'll try and stick to it as much as we can, but obviously get your comments in, and we'll try and address them as we go. Obviously, any super chats, I'm more than welcome. There was a couple of messages as I came into the show tonight, which I'll put on the screen quickly. It's YNWA Foodie, and he said to have a good show. He's going to miss it because he's having dinner with the wifeys. He's another Gags, but he also had a little message there for Grizz, so we'll pop that one up as well.
Very much.
So that was right there. That's my doorbell going. Ignore that. I don't know who's coming.
Oh, no, go on. If you want to go.
No. There's people in the house that can deal with that. It's
all right.
So we've got a message from Jitan Bana saying good evening to you, Jitan, or Jatin, I should say, rather than Jitan. We are going to crack on with our show. And we're going to talk about first and foremost the Merseyside Derby, because that's the most recent game, obviously, that Liverpool have played. What were your thoughts on that game, Grizz? Because it was one that I don't think Liverpool played well. I think that's fair to say. But it was attritional. It was a hard game to do. The one thing that came to me afterwards, I thought our defenders were, certainly our two centre-backs were dreadful in the first half. But the one thing that kind of came out from David Lynch and some of the people at the game, I don't know if you went up. I wasn't down at the Derby. But a lot of people said it was very windy. So I wonder if there is some slight mitigation, some crosswinds, some strange winds. I wonder if that is some slight mitigation for Van Dijk and Konaté's first half performance. And it did seem to play into Everton's hands because the ball was in the air so much, and it was a mess of a first half.
No, I think that's a fair comment. Look, these kind of excuses are usually made when you don't win, when things don't go your way, and therefore you look for excuses. But if you've won and your 12 points clear, and we're going to go into something else that I'm going to have a moment about. I just realized we didn't mention it in the agenda, but it's just come up my head. But yeah, I think there may be an element to that, but we didn't play good enough and well enough. I don't think we were as bad as some made out. So some were sort of claiming. I just thought it was littered with a couple of individual errors from players that we don't usually associate with individual errors, namely Virgil van Dijk. Now, Virgil van Dijk's been impeccable. Pretty much probably in the top 3 players of the season, I'd say. Top 3, top 4 players of the season in the Premier League. Not just for Liverpool, I'm talking about overall, of course, for Liverpool. But he had, as you said, and I agree with you, he had a very uncharacteristic 45 minutes. And yeah, it could be a whole host of things you put it down to. But, and again, as you say, the weather conditions, if there was a crosswind, I wasn't at the game this weekend, yesterday, sorry. If there was a crosswind or if there was a bit of a weird breeze, then it definitely suits the team that prefers the ball in the air, as opposed to the team that prefers the ball on the floor. But saying that, we should have been a bit more assertive, more controlled. But, there's a couple of incidents, Eddie, and I guess we'll probably go into the first major controversial talking point. There was a couple of issues that I really, really was angry with, probably is the best way of describing it. Like, I was absolutely spitting mad. The the delay of the McAllister injury, I think, disrupted our flow and our rhythm, and that injury was obviously caused by, I don't know what you think, and we'll get people's thoughts in there as well. Let us know. The most horrendous, horrific challenge I think I've seen this season.
Yeah, I think it was one of those in real time. Okay, I need to be completely honest here because I don't think the referee's performance was good. I think it was poor in general, as most of them are. Most of these new guys that they wheel out are just as bad as the old guys that are still being wheeled out. I don't think he was very good, and I don't think it's been very good in any of the games that I've seen him. But I have got a touch of sympathy with him here over this one. Now, in real time, when I was watching it, I didn't think it was anything like as bad as we saw on the replay. So the referee's seen that in real time now. He's obviously a lot closer to it than me when he's seeing it. I'm seeing it from a camera up in the main stand, whereas he's like 10 foot away. So he's seeing it obviously a lot clearer than me. So, but where I have the sympathy with him was that normally when I see something on the screen, straight away my reaction is normally, right, that's a red card. And I didn't think that with that tackle, not straight away. On the first replay, absolutely has to be sent off. I mean, it's full studs, it's high, it's reckless, it's endangering an opponent. Doesn't matter that he got the ball. That's so 30 years ago. That's irrelevant. So to me, where I have the sympathy with the referee is I could see that the referee could make that mistake. Referees are human. They can make mistakes. If you didn't look to be obstructed in any way, but you don't know what angle he had and what mitigation comes in for there. But where it is completely inexcusable is when you do have a video review system, you have a qualified referee and Paul Tierney in a booth watching that footage back. For him to not instruct the referee to go over and look at the screen and to say, even to get his opinion on it, you know what I mean? What's the point? What's the point of VAR if you're not going to use it for this sort of thing? That was the thing that really boiled my blood. Is that, and we know Tierney's got previous, but I don't think I know Gags on the post-match show had a big thing about corruption and how that Sky and the PGMO, they need to keep the league going, they need to keep it interesting. I don't buy that, and I don't buy that for a few reasons. I don't buy that they tried their best to give Everton's goal as the one that was offside, and I'm sure if they had an opportunity to have ruled out our goal for offside for Luis Diaz, they would have done it. You know what I mean? We've seen that happen before, but I don't buy the conspiracy. I just think they're poor. I just think they're totally out of their depth. And I think that is where Tierney in particular, he is an awful referee and he's obviously an awful VAR as a result of that. And for him not to act and to give back up his mate on the pitch, to not at least have him go and look at the screen and say, look, I'm not sure. Even if it's just to say, look, I'm not sure about this one. It's very high. I want you to have a second opinion and get the opportunity like we all had, like you had, like I had, watching it from home to see that replay. And then you're in no doubt whatsoever the boy has to be sent off. And that's where I have the sympathy for the referee, only because of that. I thought he had a poor game. He was dreadful in general. He seemed completely out of his depth, but I do have sympathy with him a little bit over the Tarkowski sending off because Tierney should have backed him up. That's the whole point of VAR.
I think you've pretty much nailed it and said everything that I wanted to say. And I was seething even 24, 48, 72 hours later as well. And I agree with everything that you said, because in real time, it looked like one of those ferocious Merseyside Derby or any big game tackle. You know, one of those old school tackles where if we're a coach or we're a manager, we tell the defenders, let them know you're there. And it's one of those tackles that if Robertson done it, on first viewing, we'd be cheering and the crowd would be absolutely, willing everyone on, and it would get everyone sort of motivated. But then we have this process called VAR. And VAR is literally video assistant refereeing. And the reason for that is there is a video to be viewed. And like you said, how Paul Tierney sat or stood or laying down, whatever he was doing at the time, saw that and didn't deem it at the very least worthy of having a look. What's the guy's name? Was it Sam? The referee's name? Sam something. How he didn't deem that worthy of just have a look at it.
Sam Barrett, I think the guy's name was.
And apparently, Eddie, they're saying this is one of the most up and coming, highly thought of referees. Lord help us. That's all I'm saying. Lord help us if this is the future or one of the bright sparks in the game of refereeing. or the art or the profession of refereeing, because I thought he was awful and abysmal overall. And I agree with you. But in this instance, he needs assistance. In this instance, he needs help from his colleagues, from the video assistant referees. Like, I didn't quite catch that. But the reaction from the players and the fans around us suggests something is not quite right here. Can you have a look and let me know? Now, we're not going to hear the dialogue of that, are we? We're not going to hear the footage. We're not going to get the footage of that. So let's see how that goes. But it's awful, absolutely awful. And I was seething because that not only that was a bad challenge or an awful challenge, that's the kind of challenge, Eddie, that ruins a career, a living, a father, an uncle, whatever, a son. That could easily have put him out of the game forever. That's how horrific that was. And I am not having anyone tell me that there was an intent. Like you said, that ticked every criteria of a red card. That ticked reckless, high, endangerment, everything that you have a criteria for a red card, that ticked it. So it was beyond me. It was, I couldn't understand it. And I was very, very, very angry at the time. I still am. I just think whoever whatever team that was, I would have said, wow, that is horrific. And you don't often get every single ex-referee, pundit, professional, ex-professional saying that was the most blatant red card. Even Ferguson himself, what's his name? Duncan Ferguson, the most Evertonian you can get. He said that was a ridiculous and it was awful and it was a red card.
Yeah, and as Ali A saying there, Tarkowski said after the game he knew he got away with it, and he did in his words, and he would have expected to be sent off straight away for that. He would have done, and so would David Moyes and everyone. They're just obviously David Moyes deflected everything by talking about an offside which wasn't an offside.
Oh, he tried to be so clever. I mean, that was pathetic from David Moyes. I actually think he's done a fantastic job there since he's gone back there, right? That was such a pathetic attempt to deflect what he knew would be a barrage or criticism of the challenge.
And I suppose the 4D chess element is that Tarkowski, Pickford, they both get to play now against Arsenal tomorrow. So as blessings go.
Yeah, look, I heard that. I heard that at least he gets to play against Arsenal. But knowing the way the Blues are, they'll fold over for Arsenal. Not that it matters and we're that concerned with it at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, if there is a slight consolation in any way, shape, or form, yeah, he gets to play against Arsenal.
Yeah, we won't dwell too much on this game because obviously it's been discussed extensively on Anfield Index. I think we've had 4 or 5 shows already today. Jan Molby's been on today. We've had Dave Hendrick and Carl Matchett on Scouted. We've had David Lynch and Dave Davis on Media Matters. We've had Jim Boardman and Jay Reid on Scouser Tommies. So there are so many shows you can go and get some more Derby fallout.